Hey guys, Kelsey here from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today we are going to be talking about my favorite winter gear. I live in northern Minnesota and it gets pretty dang cold here in the winters, and I have a few things that help me survive those sub-zero temperatures. I'm going to share them with you today, and you might be surprised, most of them are not Carhartt. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is gloves. Now, I did have a pair of Carhartt outdoor work gloves, and it could be, by the way, I'm not trying to talk smack about Carhartt, but it seems like you always find that Carhartt is like the end-all be-all for outdoor wear gear, especially like winter wear. But I have found a couple different things that work a lot better than theirs. So that's not to say maybe there's a type of Carhartt gloves I haven't tried yet that are better for winter, but for me, the ones that actually work the best, and these things, how cold did it get a couple weeks ago? We had a really nasty cold snap, and I think it was down to like -36 with the wind chill or something like that, and I used these gloves, and I was not cold at all, did not have a problem. So these are authentic Hydra leather, and they are Wells Lamont. I have no idea if that's forward or backwards, and you guys look at that. I barely know how to use like a computer. I can't believe I even have a YouTube channel, but so they're Wells Lamont, authentic Hydra hide. They have the 3M Thinsulate in it as well, which is an insulating thing that 3M developed. So I think my husband actually got these for him, but I use them all the time when it's really, really cold. The things I love about them, they're of course lined. They have this part here that's like tight around your skin, so it helps keep snow and stuff out of there. The liner is a nice fleece that you can kind of maybe see there. The thing I really like about these gloves, aside from that they're warm, they're kind of bulky because they're winter gloves, but I can still do most things I need to get enough dexterity with them. But the thing I love is they're made with Hydra hide, which I don't know what it is they develop, but it's something that makes them water resistant. So we have to haul buckets of water for our animals. It's a total pain. But when we haul water, inevitably my gloves always get a little bit wet. My Carhartt gloves, even though they're like thick, good winter gloves, inevitably by the time I was done doing chores, or certainly if I went to put them on the next day, they were wet inside. These I never get that with. So they're just awesome. And I had a hard time finding these exact ones online, because it looks like they developed kind of different ones that have different tops, and you have to buy them from different retailers and things. I will post, if I can, dig around and find a link to these exact ones, I will post them below. I would not probably get the ones where they have kind of like some have like a fabric top. I wouldn't get that because I wouldn't be convinced that that'd be as good as shedding the water as these are. But I will link below if I can find them. And from what I could see though, roughly you're looking at spending between like $19 and like $35 on a pair of gloves like these. And I've had these for a couple of years. So this is what I use in freezing Minnesota winter temperatures, 100%. On the list is, of course, a really good winter coat. Again, I wore a Carhartt winter, like flannel lined winter coat. I worked at like a feed mill and stuff where there was no heat in the winter, and wore that for years. I wore it until it was worn out completely. And then I actually have a nicer Carhartt coat that I wear just kind of like for going out and about. My husband hates that because he's always just like, can't you get a nicer coat? I'm like, Carhartt is nice. But in terms of a work coat, when my other Carhartt wore out, my dad got me a new coat, and I was kind of like, well, I guess I'll use this because my dad got it for me. I love it. It is the warmest coat I've ever had in my life. I also have a North Face jacket as well, like a big puffy one. It is not as warm as this coat. I wish that this coat, you know how some people have like the long winter coats that go like down like to their shins. I wish they would make a model of this coat that goes down to your shins, which I'm sure my husband would really love that one if I showed up to go out like somewhere nice for dinner wearing a work coat that goes like a work coat, trench coat. But anyway, so this is the work coat. It kind of looks like Carhartt, but it is actually a rugged wear brand, and I'll show you kind of like a better like overview of this because it's kind of a big coat to get on the camera. But so, and again, I think it's a fleece lined coat. It has the same thing that those gloves have. Where's the tag here for the 3M Thinsulate? So for the insulation. It has the cuffed sleeves, of course, which this is like the first thing that wore out on my Carhartt coat. But I like that the cuffs are kind of like tucked into the coat itself a little bit, which is really nice. So you've got that protection, like the big thick stuff goes all the way well over your gloves. There's not like, kind of like how on a glove, the glove ends here and then you've got the cuff, like the cuff is tucked into the coat. I can't remember if Carhartt has that or not, but this certainly does. And then it's got a little, hook to hang it on the back. Of course, I never use that. I just use the hood. And then in terms of pockets, sorry, this is kind of a clumsy thing here. It has a little like clip on the inside for clipping on like your pocket knife or something. It's got an interior pocket that you can use right there. And then on the outside, it has just like 2 standard pockets, like down here and here. And my favorite pocket that I use constantly, there's twine in the pocket, is this one up here, which is like a breast pocket right here that zips to the side. It's nice and roomy, so if you have like a big iPhone or something, it'll fit in there and you can access it easily. And I'm always listening to podcasts and stuff when I'm out doing work in the cold. Makes it a little more bearable. And if I stick it right there, I can hear my podcast really well, and it's not going to fall out or anything because it's a zipper pocket. So it's really, really nice. I love this coat. Actually, the only complaint I have about this coat is it's almost too hot, at least for me. So if you live somewhere where it's cold but not that cold, like I do not use this coat if it is anything like 30 degrees and above. I will not use this coat because I will get too hot. So if you were someone who is really, really cold around the 30, degree mark, go for it. But I mean, I think the coldest temperature I've seen in my life was the actual air temperature was like -45 and the wind chill was -61 or 62. It was the coldest temperature I've ever seen in my life. So I'm used to cold weather. So maybe if you're not, then this coat would be perfect for you, even in like the 30s. But yeah, I will get too hot in this. And so again, I wore this coat and then the bibs I will show you with the gloves and everything when we had the negative, it was like -35-ish with the wind chill. And I was like toasty warm out there. And I'm not doing like super strenuous work. I mean, it's chores, so it's work. But this coat, I like didn't even catch a chill. And I think I just wore this out there with like a regular, I didn't have like extra sweaters on or anything. I just had something like this on. And I can wear this out when it's like in the teens with like a tank top underneath and I'm perfectly warm. So this is awesome. The other thing I love about this rugged wear coat is the price tag. So you can buy this coat for $50 from Menards. If you want to get a Carhartt winter coat, you're looking at, I'm pretty sure like at Fleet Farm, they're around like $130. So it's like, what, a third of the price, and it keeps you warmer and holds up just as well. I don't know how many times I have snagged on like the backs of nails or weird stuff like poking out in our chicken coop, because our chicken coop is very old. It's from like the 1930s. And there's not a single like snag or tear or anything on this coat. It is awesome. Menards, if you want to sponsor me in this coat, please do, because I cannot say enough good things about this coat. Okay, next on the list, and this is actually going to be Carhartt one, is bibs. So I actually use my husband's bibs a lot when I go out because I do not like their women's bibs. And again, this could just be that I haven't done enough shopping and I just have like a weird style of Carhartt bib or something. And I don't even have them out. They're like in storage because they zip. They like zip all the way up and down. So you like they will completely come apart on the sides. And mine, for whatever reason, like the zipper up top will like work its way down sometimes. And so then you'll be out working and you will literally, by the time you're done, like your whole side of your body is exposed. So I don't know what that's about. And this could be a style, again, that doesn't exist anymore. I think I got those bibs like 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't care for that. And then the straps, rather than have like here on my husband's, like this is the back panel. It comes, so like the front panel's here. The back panel comes up to about the same spot on your back. And then so you just have like a little short strap connecting it. It's not that way with the women's ones. They just come up to like over your hips. And then you have these straps that come over. And the straps are kind of, because at first I was like trying to do one over each shoulder, but then it didn't stay right. So you have to like cross them over your shoulder. So again, they might have other styles of women's bibs, but they're frustrating. They're really frustrating to wear. So I wear my husband's a lot lately because they are, they're just better. So these, again, I'll have to do just like a different shot. This is so huge to try and fit, and they're black. So of course they don't film very well. But so these are just great big bibs, and I pretty much only wear these when it is, we're talking like, I don't know, probably 10 below or more while I bust these out. Otherwise, I'm just wearing my jeans out there. So again, if you're somewhere where you need the extra warmth, you're not used to it, these things are great. And the thing is, it has a lot of pockets and stuff, but because I'm wearing my coat over top and my coat has plenty good pockets, I don't really utilize the pockets. I will say these are just like really, really good and sturdy. They're really warm. If you were to be wearing these outside with like a sweater or something, it's got lots of nice spots for tools and things like that. These ones, the men's, do have a zipper and a button down the side, but it doesn't like go all the way up so that it'll completely open. Like it stops at the top of the leg rather than zipping top to bottom, which is, it's weird. I don't know why they designed them that way, that pair. But so anyway, Carhartt bibs. So Carhartt did get a good mention in here because those work really well. So other two things to talk about. Hat. I honestly do not have any sort of loyalty to a particular winter hat. I mean, if you go to the store and they have a good warm hat that fits you comfortably, I'm just like ragging on Carhartt in this video. I'm so sorry. I have a lot of Carhartt hats that I actually wear for going out and doing chores. My head doesn't typically get too cold. Covers your ears great. But some of the ones are like just really tall. So you get that weird like bump on top, and then it'll get kind of like top heavy and fall off. So I don't like that. And they have smaller ones that don't have as much height to them. I hope you know what I'm talking about here. Otherwise, I just sound like a crazy person. There's a hat that fits comfortably. I have one that's like a triple lined winter hat, and I believe that's another one that has that Thinsulate stuff in it. So whatever that is that 3M invented, it keeps you darn warm. So I highly recommend anything with the Thinsulate in it will work really well. The last thing that I regularly use for chores is a scarf. Now, honestly, better than a scarf, I think, is if you get those kind of like cowl things that you can pull up and over. And again, that's when we're talking like extreme temperatures that I need to use something like that where you're going to get like frostbite. So any brand of that, I really like things that are wool blends because wool are good about wicking moisture away. They dry out really fast. It's a natural fiber, so I really appreciate that. So I actually, when it's like really nasty cold, usually just use this wool scarf. I'm pretty sure it's from Edinburgh. When I lived there, or I know my friend actually picked this up for me when he was visiting after we all studied abroad in northern England. We all became kind of wool fiends. But so this, it'll cover you well and can tuck down into your coat. The only negative about using a scarf versus just one of those little nice cowls where it's just one loop is that eventually like the sides will kind of like flop around or get loose or something and can get in your way. So that's a bit of a pain. So maybe I don't necessarily recommend like a fancy scarf from Edinburgh, but I would recommend like a wool blend cowl, then go up and cover your nose. Boot wise, I just use muck boots. These are just their standard ones, and they seem to actually work just fine. My feet really don't get cold. These aren't their Arctic line or anything like that. My biggest complaint about muck boots is this upper material has snagged on barbed wire and all sorts of stuff, and it will, through the bigger kind of holes, leak a little bit. So I honestly don't have a solid rec for boots, I'm sorry to say, but if you do, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear all about it. Now, one other little thing real quick, I highly recommend having a boot warmer / glove warmer / dryer. It doesn't really warm them too much, but it dries them. Super essential in cold weather. So those are my must-have pieces for winter gear wear. If you have any suggestions, please share them below. It's always nice to find more ways to stay cozy and warm and functional in the frigid winter months, especially if you have a good boot recommendation, because obviously I'm not super sold on the muck boots. I use them because I have them, but I could definitely use a good winter boot recommendation. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you here next week for more farming, family food, and fortitude here at our rough and tumble farmhouse.